Okay, welcome back everybody to our second and final live stream of today. We are on Microsoft Flight Simulator. That was a quick turnaround, wasn't it? Second tea of the morning made. So we are going to get in here and get everything set up. We're going from Gatwick to Malpensa, which is very close. It's the major airport for Milan, I do believe. So anyway, we are going to get in here, get everything set up, and we will be airborne shortly. Now we're at a gate, so we're going to have to do the push back, start up, all that kind of stuff. So anyway, yeah, so hopefully it's going to be a nice flight, no issues. So we'll get in here and get things going. Oh, this was the plane that had the problem with the autopilot on takeoff. Yeah, the software was a mess. So, all right. So let's change our weather first off, so we can have a nice, beautiful flight to Malpensa. And we are not going to let Clarence talk to air traffic control just yet. And we're going to get our checklist opened. And we're just going to do all the autocomplete.
External power.
There we go. Oops. We're going to get our IFR
Gatwick
clearance.
Delivery Froggy 237 IFR to Malpensa, ready to copy.
Froggy 237 is cleared to Malpensa Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 26 left climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Departure frequency.
Uh-oh. See, we lost our... Now, this is something that's happened before. It's like our radio shuts off. That's something that I've noticed before in this plane. So...
Froggy 237 acknowledge last transmission.
Froggy 237 cleared to Malpensa Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 26 left climb and maintain 6,000 feet. Departure on 118.475 squawk 1622.
Froggy 237 readback is correct. Contact ground on 121.805 when ready to taxi.
Well, at least we didn't lose our stuff.
Gatwick ground, Froggy 237 requesting pushback. Froggy 237 pushback request accepted.
All right, so guessing, oh, we're gonna have to steer to the left. Fly me to the moon, Chris.
Gatwick ground, Froggy 237 requesting pushback tug to steer the aircraft to the left. Froggy 237, your request has been transmitted to the operator.
Now, of course, we probably wouldn't have started up the engines until after we got back here, but I wanted to get the...
Gatwick ground, Froggy 237 requesting the end of pushback. Froggy 237 request to end pushback received. Gatwick ground, Froggy 237 with Golf ready to taxi IFR. Froggy 237 taxi to and hold short of runway 26 left using taxiway Juliet Mike. Contact tower on 124.
So it's a very short taxi. I think it's right over here, but that's, yep, pretty much.
Taxi to and hold short runway 26 left using taxiway Juliet Mike Froggy 237.
Alright, now we're going to let Clarence take over for radio communications. We're going to have fun steering the plane. To our takeoff runway. We should go no higher than 37,000 feet for our cruising altitude. Should be sufficient enough extra area on the wing for lift for the takeoff. Hello again, Mick. How are you? Do you have enough cookies to get you through the flight?
For IFR departure runway 26 left.
Froggy 237 altimeter 29.9 21272 entry. Cleared for takeoff runway 26 left.
Cleared for takeoff runway 26 left Froggy 237.
Kind of coast up here, and then we're going to stop, and then we're going to make sure we have everything set for our flight. Double check all of our stuff, and then we'll be airborne shortly. I think most pilots would have just gunned it and taken off, but we're going to make sure. Alright, I just got to make sure I know where the autopilot and all that is on. There's thrust. Auto throttle is on. Autopilot should be right there. So we just want one. That one right there. There's our vertical speed control. Okay. We're all set. Let's go.
Froggy 237, contact London Center on 118.475. Good day.
118.475 Froggy 237.
Pilots.
London Center Froggy 237 is at 1,900 feet, climbing 6,000 feet.
Froggy 237 London Center altimeter 29.9 to continue as planned.
Where's my nav mode? Brakes. There we are. So far, so good. I think we did okay. There's our Lufthansa livery.
Froggy 237 climb and maintain 12,000 feet.
Climb and maintain 12,000 feet, Froggy 237.
Alright, so let's see if we get our legs. It's not navigating, I don't think. Okay, now it should. There we go. Okay. We are going to Malpensa, which is not far from Milan. So we're going to fly across the water here and make our way across the European continent, and then we are going to land in Malpensa. That's the plan. I don't know why that just suddenly powered back. That's kind of odd. Oh, probably because it's dialed in at 200 knots. So I gotta change that. 250 knots engaged. Hello, Amela. Welcome back also. Nice to see you all here. We're flying off the coast of England here. I'm guessing that's Bonner Regis.
Foggy 237 climb and maintain flight level 230.
Okay, 230.
Climb and
Golly
maintain
gosh.
flight level 230, Froggy 237.
That's a reasonable request I can live with. This is a nice looking plane, I'm not going to lie. I do like it. Hey Daniel, how are you? Nice to see you here. I'm guessing you're either had been to the chip shop or on your way to the chip shop. Happy Saturday to you. Always happy to see my fellow streaming friends here in the chat. Hello, Chip. Chris. Oh boy. Always nice to see everybody here. Oh, can't go for your fish and chips until you've received a parcel. Well, hopefully it comes soon, because I know you like your fish and chips on Saturday. What did Daniel buy today? What is it, the deep fat fryer? Chris. God. Oh, Chris. I love jam-filled donuts. I haven't had some in a while, but they are pretty tasty. But they're also pretty messy. I can only have like one, and then that's it, because it's just... Yeah. Well, I'm sure as soon as you get it, I know you'll be on your way to the chip shop. That's your Saturday custom. And usually, yeah, here they do the same thing. They'll say it'll arrive by 8 o'clock tonight. It's always kind of interesting. The wheels are, the landing gear is tucked in, but it's not like it's behind a... Because you're using that word, Chris, I have to approve that to be put in the chat. I wouldn't mind some jam-filled donuts. Those do sound good. Have that with some coffee. Oh, yes. Always a nice little treat. Or when I was younger, I would have that with some hot chocolate. Oh yeah, that's the good stuff right there too. Hot cocoa and some jam-filled donuts. Mm-hmm. Oh.
Climb and maintain flight level 330.
Isn't it interesting? We always get right to where they tell us to go, and then they say, oh, you got there, go ahead a little higher. It's okay. So we are getting right to the edge of the stratosphere, getting up to 33,000 feet. That's an interesting thing that you got to give them a password in order to get your... Well, I guess it makes sense. Chris having to go at Daniel in the chat. I love it. First cookie is now donuts. I'm missing out. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Pax. Maybe Amilla can persuade Nick to make a run to your house with some cookies. Amilla could be a bit persuasive that way.
119.825 for Froggy 237. Paris Center Froggy 237 is at flight level 265, climbing flight level 330.
Froggy 237 Paris Center, continue to PEDAX as planned.
Okay. So PEDAX is our Can't zoom in closer, unfortunately. Look at this little handy-dandy flashlight. Now this does have a heads-up display. A little bit smaller than the one in other aircraft that we've seen. We have one. Clarence does not have a heads-up display. Oh, poor Clarence. Clarence is missing out on the head-up display action. PEDAX is what we are flying towards. Now we should get an increase to 37,000 feet here, I'm guessing at any moment. Probably right when we get up to 33,000, they'll say, okay, climb another 4,000 feet. Lights aren't all on. Goodness gracious. You need the landing lights on. The taxi lights are off. Looking for the little thing so that the crew can move around and so can the passengers. I'm not very familiar with the cockpit of this plane, or the flight deck. I don't know where all those things are. Oh, there it is. Seatbelt prompt
Foggy
lights.
237 climb and maintain flight level 370.
Climb and maintain flight level 370, Froggy 237.
See? I was right. We were just about close to 33,000 feet. And then they're like, oh, go a little higher while you're at it. Right. Yeah, see, the crazy thing will be, Daniel, if you run to the chip shop, that's when they're going to show up. If you're like, I'm going to chance it, just run down there real quick and come right back. That's when they're going to be like, they're going to pull up just as you get halfway down the street. Too bad the chip shop doesn't deliver. Now see, if Ambella was a good friend, Ambella would just zip over to the UK, swing by the chip shop, pick up your chips, drop it off for you, and be on the way. You know? Come on, Ambella, you know you can do it. Well, this flight's actually going... I don't want to jinx it, but things are going pretty darn good for the first time in this aircraft. Didn't quite know what to expect. Alright, so I made a note. When we get to SPR, we need to start our descent. So SPR is still a few things away. Yeah. That's very possible too. Yeah, that is very possible. We need to find the engine de-ice.
Foggy 237, contact Paris Center on 125.7. Good day.
125.7 Froggy 237. Paris Center Froggy 237 flight level 370.
Froggy 237 Paris Center, continue to Bravo Romeo Yankee as planned.
You got it. I can do that. I have the technology. Engine de-ice. I think it would be back there. It's usually up here somewhere. Just looking for two switches that would do it. See. I wonder if it's like an automatic thing. Oh, there we are. There's the windshield. So the engines must be right. That'd be right near there. If there's the engine, if there's the windshield de-ice. I'm guessing it would be right around here somewhere. Clearance hiding it over on his side. We're gonna have to have a top clearance. Oh, there's airframe. There we go. Found it. Good to know. So if we ever If it comes to it, I'll have something else today, then have my fish and chips tomorrow. Oh, there you go. That's a good idea. So, SPR. Let's see if I can see if that's popped up on our list yet. I think so. Yeah, this is going pretty darn well. Let's change the speed units to Mach. There we go. Since we are up in the stratosphere. Pardon me, having my second tea today. With just a dash of honey in there. I've been working through the honey that I got in Savannah. Yeah, this looks pretty smart. It's not very flashy, but the Lufthansa livery for this plane. We even have their website on the back section of the plane. Yes. That way, you know, because a lot of people like to have their tea a little bit sweet without, you know, some people put sugar in there, which isn't always a good thing, and honey is supposed to be good for your throat. So if you have a little sore throat or whatever, hot tea and honey is a good, especially you get lemon, like my mom used to always get. When I was growing up, we'd stop for breakfast somewhere or whatever if we were going up to my grandparents. She'd always order hot tea with lemon. And so she would, she never had anything sweet with it, but she would order whatever tea was available, or they would bring a selection, she'd just pick something and then just a little dash of lemon in there. But I always, if I have tea, I put honey in there. Gives it sweet enough, thanks. That's a good one. Well done, Daniel. Well done. But yeah, for like a sore throat or whatever, honey and tea is a good choice. Kind of soothes your throat a little bit. And, it just so happened when I was in Savannah, a friend of mine got me a little tin, so to speak, of honey that's made in the area. It's like a organically managed sort of bee farm that they make the honey. They slice it off, and you can get different sizes. I think you could probably look them up online. I forget the name of the company, but they may ship as well. Yeah, really good stuff. So whenever I normally drink coffee in the morning, but if I don't have any cream, then I'll have tea instead. So the honey is a nice natural sweetener. If you go for such things, you know, it's certainly a
Froggy 237,
option.
contact Paris Center on 118.05. Good day.
118.05 for Froggy 237. Paris Center Froggy 237 flight level 370.
Froggy 237, Paris Center, continue to Bravo Romeo Yankee as planned.
Okay, will do. That's got to be the one in front of us there. 43 nautical miles. But yeah, I can't do the lemon in the tea. That's... ugh. Except if it's iced tea. I can have that with lemon. But even then, that's a little like... ugh. It's kind of just... yeah, it's a bit much, but... with hot tea, if I'm going to have it, honey's a good choice. And as I've always heard, that it's, if you know, like I said, if you got a sore throat, it's like a good natural. It'll kind of help relieve a little bit of that soreness. I'm surprised you didn't. you were like surprised by that, Bex. I'm surprised by your surprise. Of course, Daniel being a bit cheeky in the chat, that he's sweet enough. Thanks. I'm sure even more so once he has some jam donuts. And I got a box of they sell it at Walmart. It's called Twinnings English Breakfast Tea. It's 100% black tea, which apparently is supposed to be really good for you. From what I've heard, I don't know what all it's supposed to do for you, but a lot of people say that black tea. Some people swear by green tea. I do like green tea. I haven't had any in quite a while. Matter of fact, next Friday when I go grocery shopping, I may buy this to eat honey out the jar, but in tea, I don't think I could. Well, you'd be surprised. It doesn't. You don't have to put a lot in. Bex, just a small teaspoon worth, and just let it sink in, and yeah, it's not bad. It's not overpowering. Just a small little tablespoon or teaspoon. Well, this one you can. When my friend and I were at the store that sells all this stuff, they said you can eat it. It's very healthy for you, actually, eating a little bit of honey. I don't know that the stuff in the jar is probably got more stuff in it that's probably not very good for you. But this stuff apparently is supposed to be really healthy. Their farm is monitored, I think, to make sure that the bees are not being mistreated, is how they put it there at the store. So yeah, I don't know, but yeah, just a smidge in the tea, is you'd be surprised. I highly recommend it if you're feeling a little bit yucky today. Can't go wrong with a hot tea and some honey. You might be surprised how well how a little bit better you feel. I think I told this story before, so if I'm repeating story time, I apologize. But years ago, not long after caramel syrup coffee is good, but probably not healthy. Yeah, you're probably right about that too. Years ago, not long after I became a medic, I was myself and 3 other medics. We were tasked out to provide medical coverage for over 100 soldiers in the National Guard who were helping with the fires up in Northern California. Specifically, we were based out of the town of Hayfork, and I had the good fortune of getting to talk to 2 mountain paramedic rescue guys. Really chilled, just, full of information, and always willing to just, they had like this really neat little site. They had this RV, which is where they had all their medicine and like an exam table and stuff like that. And so we would go eat dinner, and then their trailer wasn't far from where we would go to eat dinner at the campsite. And so we would go eat and then come back, or on our way back, they had like a little fire pit, and so we'd be sitting around and just kind of chit-chatting. And I'll never forget, somebody came up talking about, oddly enough, knee pain. And they went to them, and this person walked up and said, I need some Tylenol, or I need some Advil or Motrin. And so one of the guys, I can't remember his name, said, well, what do you need that for? Well, I've got knee pain. Okay. And so he started talking about, okay, I'll get you the Motrin and all that. That's not a problem. But he said, when my suggestion to you is when you get back home, wherever home is, go to the store and get some kale leaves and steam them. Put a little bit of butter on them because they're not going to taste very good, but just put a little bit of butter to take away the bitterness, right? The natural vitamins in the kale leaves will help alleviate the joint pain. And he said something that has always stuck with me, although I don't practice what I preach, in that how we feel is often tied to what we eat. Yes, I'm sure Mick has enjoyed all of his cookies, for instance, but is it really healthy to eat that many cookies? Probably not, but he's going to enjoy them, and that's perfectly fine. But, those sorts of things, we feel good for the moment. Like if we go to McDonald's, for instance, we like a Big Mac with fries and a soda, and it tastes good, but later on we're just kind of like, So a lot of things that we eat are not really good for us. They're more out of convenience than anything else a lot of times. But if we take the time and just those little changes of doing something that is actually healthy for us, be surprised how well you feel. But at the same time, my philosophy is it's not always cheap to eat well. To have those, something that's very healthy for you. It's not always very practical to do. So, yeah, it was a lot of work because we were busy a lot of times, and I slept in we had a makeshift aid station, and I stayed there with the physician's assistant who came up there to be our provider. And you don't get a lot of rest sometimes. Somebody may come in late at night with a complaint, and you got to wake up and go take care of that person. But I eat like a rabbit during the week. I don't, and it helped in the front garden. There you go. That's a good way to look at it, Nick. Yeah, and some people do. If you do things in moderation, there's nothing wrong with that. So, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, it's not always easy to eat healthy, and it's not very cheap either. Because if it was cheap, everybody would do it. You know, but we don't. We look for the convenient things, you know. So, because life is busy a lot of times. And we just go for the convenient stuff, not the healthy stuff. So, myself included, I would prefer to eat healthy, or you know, I don't mind it, but man, it's not easy. It's not cheap. You know, I guess if I live somewhere, a lot of places, you know, you go to the market on the way home and you buy stuff fresh for dinner. You know, whether it's fresh fish or, you know, fresh meat at the butcher's markets. You know, most people, that's the thing, is a lot of stuff isn't always fresh either. Yeah, that's true, Nick. I agree with that. But sometimes we forget and we overdo it. Because it's like, oh man, I forgot how much I missed Oreo cookies. Next thing you go through like a whole package of Oreos instead of like, oh, I'm going to just have a few each. No, it's like, oh man, these are good. And next thing you know, you're just eating a whole row, for instance. You know? Yeah, sometimes it's easier said than done. That's for sure. Now, I want to also say this ahead of time because I kind of feel like we're in about more than halfway into the flight. So if by any chance I stick to hot chocolate and steak, well, you know, I've had to cut back on my red meat intake because that's something that's affected my fatty liver. So I do like chicken. That's why I've switched to pork loin. I try to add some fish in every once in a while. But yeah, it's all good. So there's a seat right behind the pilot's seat. Now, I don't know if that's supposed to be if you have like a senior pilot flying with you, you put them there just in case something's or what. Who would be in that seat normally? So then you have yeah, this is a pretty nice little plane. Things are going pretty well, but on the off chance that things fall apart, we won't restart. We'll just end it. And, I'll apologize in advance if, for some reason, we have a unexpected crash to dashboard that ends our stream. So I want to make sure that it's not. We get that out there now. So yeah. There it is. Not that we're flying in an ice storm, but it's always good to know where those little buttons are. So I still think we are on our way to BRY. Okay, we have a few more legs to go. Let's see if I can go to blue legs here. Might be able to read this one a little bit easier. That's not changing. I can't really read that any better either. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more, and then at SPRs when we're gonna start our descent into Malpensa. Yeah, I used to eat steak like all the time. like when I lived in Pleasanton with a couple friends of mine, we used to barbecue all the time. And so I'd always get like a 12-inch steak, you know, not 12-inch, like a 12-ounce steak. There we go. 12-ounce steak. And
Going to 128
it
decimal
was,
3
you know,
Froggy 237.
always
Ream center,
medium
Froggy
rare.
237 flight level 370.
And it was probably not the healthiest thing to eat.
Ream Center, continue to Delta Juliet Lima as planned.
Just give it another hour. If it still hasn't arrived by then, I'll just have something else. I don't know, Daniel. I mean, that sucks because I know that's your thing that you like to do on Saturdays. I'm not a big fan of tempting fate sometimes, but do what you got to do. Personally, if it was me, I'd be a little bit miffed that I missed my fish and chips on Saturday, but that's just me. Hopefully it arrives soon and you can still make it to the chip shop. Have that. DJL is our next. I'm sure that's the waypoint that's in front of us right there. Yeah. So SPR is the very bottom one there. It's kind of hard to see, but I can barely make it out. I have to, even though I'm zoomed in as much as I can, I kind of have to guess that that's what it is. Or I'm pretty sure. So we're going to start our descent into Malpensa pretty soon. Yeah, I know. That makes sense, but you know, when you have your sort of structured day, when something throws that off, something just feels wrong about it. You know. Because the other thing too, watch, you're gonna have something else, and then either that's when they're gonna show up, or you're gonna wait all day. You're gonna be like, damn, I could have gone to the chip shop. You know, it's a no-win situation, unfortunately. Yeah. So that's the unfortunate part about it, I think. But yeah, I don't eat much steak anymore. It's just like a once in a blue moon thing. I either have chicken, fish, or pork loin. And I've gotten pretty good at making pork loin in the oven. I just put it on a sheet pan I put pan, then I put a thing of tin foil down, and then because that way it helps with the cleanup. It's a little bit easier. And then I heat up the oven to 350 degrees, set a timer for about an hour and 20 minutes, and you know, I could have gone and had it by now, but couldn't risk it. Yeah, I know, Daniel. That's the crappy part. Yeah, usually within about 45 minutes I get that first little whiff of the pork loin cooking, and yeah, good stuff. Just a bit of mustard on the side, and just dip that in mustard. Oh, yeah, good stuff. So other than the little hiccup with we got the systems turned on, but then as we were getting our instructions, the power went off again, which was kind of odd. But we got the engine started up, and we're able to get our finish our IFR instructions and let them know that we did hear them. Because I didn't want to risk losing all of our flight plan. Yeah, this has worked out pretty well. Knock on fake wood. I don't want to be overly optimistic and then everything crashes, but yeah. It's been a couple hours that will count towards our 100 hours in the simulator. We'll see how much closer we are to that. I'm guessing it'll be about an hour and a half added. So we've been streaming for an hour and 2 minutes, so. But that doesn't mean our flight time is the same as our stream time. So we'll see what happens when we get to the gates. We will taxi in wherever they tell us to go, and then we will shut everything down and have a look at the end what our how well we did, or not how well, but how much time we picked up towards our 100 hours. So I do want to thank everybody for coming in and hanging out today. Nice to see everybody here. Hopefully you enjoyed the flight. The 737 MAX is, I think, just to be on the safe side, tomorrow, I think we're going to fly in the A320 just to be safe, because I'm not sure why we have that issue with the power system. It's like the battery drains very quickly when you turn the systems on to talk to the gate and everything, or not to the gate, but to air traffic control and get your IFR clearance and all that. So yeah, I think we'll go to the A320 tomorrow and all that. So, or once we get things on, I think if I don't know. I think we'll just go with the A320 tomorrow, so that way you don't have to worry about it. We'll push back, taxi out to the runway, skedaddle up into the air expeditiously, forthwith, and then we'll alright, so we have 1, 2, 3, and then we'll start our descent. Now, interestingly enough, so it looks like we are going to come over some of the Alps, I guess. So we may I know once we get over the hills, we should start our approach phase, kind of, or what they say is our arrival leg, and then we're to turn left. If I remember correctly, if I remember the flight plan correctly, we're going to turn left into Malpensa and to runway 35 right, pick up our ILS approach, and put this thing on the ground nice and easy. And at 11,000 feet, because we do have a bit more to go, so that 11,000 feet might be on the other side of those mountains. So we'll see what happens once we get past that marker there at 11 something nautical miles. Now, I'm assuming we can, if we have to, I think we have enough knowledge to, if things go wrong, we should be able to put this thing on the ground manually if we have to. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. This marker, and there should be one more. I'm not sure what the distance is between the two markers. Oh, not very much at all. And then from there to, SPR. So here's our next one. Now we should start contacting Milan, I think. Or Malpensa Center. I think. I'm guessing that's what we should start hearing from them soon.
Froggy 237, contact Geneva Center on 125.55. Good day.
125.55 Froggy 237. Geneva Center, Froggy 237, flight level 370.
Froggy 237 Geneva Center, continue to Sierra Papa Romeo as planned. Froggy 237, contact Marseille Center on 120.85. Good day.
Going to 120.85 Froggy 237. Marseille Center, Froggy 237, flight level 370.
Froggy 237. 237 Marseille Center, continue as planned.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to fly towards A first. That's an interesting name for a marker. So it seems like we're going to fly past Malpensa as we are getting ready to go into our approach phase. As we get a little bit closer, certainly once we're over the mountains here, then I'll start descending to 10,200 feet, and then we'll start managing our descents and getting things set up for our arrival into Malpensa. The approach mode is right next to heading select. Okay. Seatbelt lights back on.
Foggy 237 contact Switzerland Center on 126.35. Good day.
126.35.
Let the flight attendants know to get the cabin cleaned up and prepared for landing.
237 Switzerland Center, continue as planned.
Everybody get that coffee, juice, beer, wine, whatever they be. Hand your trash over. Make your quick run to the loo. Nick, kind sir, have you got your latte at hand? Oh, look at this view. Of course, we did a little flight through through some of this before in the Cessna 152. If you missed that, do watch it. It's quite enjoyable. And then, of course, after that, we did the flights under the Eiffel Tower, which was quite fun. And we did it. We came back around and did it a second time, just for good measure. I've got my hot chocolate this time. I always have a spare flask. I said latte, not something in a. Unless you got your latte in a something that will keep it warm. Well, hopefully Amella's still here, so if you start to get a little nervous, Mick, I'm sure Amella would be happy to hold your hand. haven't had hot cocoa in a while. That does sound good. Certainly as the weather starts to change here in New York, I'm going to have to get some little instant hot cocoa packets to have like in the evening or something. Or if it's a little chilly and I just want to warm up but I don't want coffee or tea. Hot chocolate's always a good option. I remember the ones that you get when I was a kid. You get the hot cocoa with the little mushrooms in there. Or mushrooms. Mushrooms. No. Marshmallows. I don't know what I was thinking. Marshmallows in the hot chocolate, not mushrooms. Oh. Would you like mushrooms in your hot cocoa, dear? Oh, yes, please. By all means. Just throw them in there. Just don't let Clarence touch the controls. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a big mushroom fan myself either. I can have it on pizza if there's a bunch of other stuff there. But I can't eat mushrooms otherwise. Oh. I was telling somebody the other day, my mom is a huge fan of the stuffed portobello mushrooms. I can't do it. I just can't. Alright, a little bit closer here, and we're going to start making our descent there to 10,000 feet. Once we get a little bit past these, I'll pass things, yeah, I'm not a big fan of mushrooms. Never have been. My brother loves them. But then I think he'll also eat Brussels sprouts too. Oh. Never been a big fan of Brussels sprouts. You can't convince me otherwise. I meant marshmallows though. Marshmallows and hot chocolate though is a good thing. That's what I meant. Not mushrooms. Oh boy. The mouth was acting faster than the brain that time. Or vice versa. Something, there was a huge disconnect there somehow. Okay, let's start descending here. 1,200.
Froggy 237 descent and maintain flight level 230.
Oh, I can descend 230.
Descend,
okay, that's
maintain
reasonable.
Flight level 230, Froggy 237.
I can live with that. Speed to let's wrap my head around that. Ooh. Love sprout. Some people do. I just ooh, no thanks. Why? Oh, there it goes. Oh, George Russell is nice. Somebody's got to put a stop to the domination of Mercedes. I can't go through another season of that nonsense. Oh, if you still haven't watched it, still highly recommend the Michael Schumacher documentary on Netflix. I might have to watch it again. It's very well put together. Nice to see his dad talk about him. His wife, of course, Ralph. Yeah. Sprouts are the best for compost. No, if I have a roast, which I haven't had in a while, but my mom used to make a Sunday roast, and we'd have like potatoes, carrots, what else? I think she would make And a separate side dish would be like green beans or something like that, plus salad. Yeah. But, you know, you put those little potatoes in there with the... put it in the slow cooker or something like that. So sometimes we would have that for Sunday dinner growing up. Yeah, I can't... Oh, maybe because I watched a lot of old science fiction movies as a kid. I always thought sprouts were like little alien brains. I think if I had been a filmmaker, that would have been like a project I would have worked on. That I would have equated sprouts with little alien brains, that if you eat them, you grow little aliens inside you or something. I remember, I don't know if you guys ever had it in the UK, but, you know, we used to have a show on, I think it was on Saturday afternoons. It was called Creature Feature. And it might have just been a Bay Area, California thing, but I forget the name of the host, but they would have like the classic monster movies like The Wolfman, The Mummy, the early Dracula films, Creature from the Black Lagoon, you know, stuff like that. Oh, let me see if I can't remember the guy's name. Creature Features. It was 60s, 70s, and 80s. The main presenter I remember it was in San Francisco. Yep. See, we usually got it in the afternoon. Oh, they don't have the person's name. But yeah, it was always the classic horror movies. Always enjoyed those. Although, you'd watch them like in the afternoon, but, you know, I'd try to go into bed after watching these, like, movies, and I'd swear, I'd have nightmares, of course, because I didn't know any better. But, yeah, I don't know if you guys have the same thing there in the UK or not. Alright, so we should... kind of feel like we should descend more. So I'm going to kind of pull what we normally get with the air traffic control once we get to the altitude they said for us to go to. We're just going to go ahead and descend to 10,200 from here, just to be ready.
Froggy 237, descend and maintain 11,000 feet.
Okay, I can live with that then.
Descend and maintain 11,000 feet, Froggy 237.
Well, that's reasonable. But yeah, I remember watching that on, Saturdays. It was like cartoons, and then it was in the afternoon after the cartoons were over. Then it was creature feature time. But yeah, I remember Lon Chaney, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr. Who else was there? Christopher Lee. Those are the big names, I think, back then. I remember the Christopher Lee as Dracula. A lot of The Fly with Vincent Price. Oh yeah. I watched quite a few horror movies with Vincent Price. Not so much horror, they were very suspenseful, Stuff based on Edgar Allan Poe's poems and short novels. Yeah, good stuff. Alright, well, we should be getting ready to line up here shortly. Vincent Price was one of my favorite horror/suspense actors. But I might be telling my age a little too much, too. Yeah, that was good stuff. All right. We'll track to the left here momentarily. Let's go ahead and get our speed down to about 210. So that we are even though we don't have to be, I'd rather be a little bit ahead of the curve, if at all possible. Because these next bit of miles is going to go very quickly, I think. should be. Alright, we gotta get down a little bit lower in altitude, I think. Come on, guys, you gotta give me something to work with here. That's a lot of, we gotta get down a little bit further before we can. I'm just gonna start slowing down naturally then on my own. Nope, 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 nope.
Froggy 237, descend and maintain 5,000 feet.
Alright, there we go.
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet, Froggy 237.
Okay. It won't let me go much more than that for whatever reason. It's not one thing, it's another, I swear. Yeah, I know, Mick, I'm sorry. It's just acting up now for some reason. Alright, where are we at on our descent? Okay, now it says we got an excellent connection. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's been happening a few times now during our flights. Alright, we're getting to 4,000 feet. I think I can go ahead and switch on the approach mode. Hopefully we'll capture the ILS approach. Pretty soon. Kind of start slowing us down. I think now I can go ahead and start getting. Right, we should be lining up. There's a runway kind of ahead of us there. Alright, we got this.